Hey everyone, in this video, we're going to talk about Frederick J. Stair, who is quite the researcher that you need to know about because history does tend to repeat itself. So Frederick J. Stair was Harvard's and the world's most influential nutrition researcher, but was he corrupt? So this is all literally, you can just find this on his Wikipedia page. So he was an American nutritionist regarded as one of the country's most influential teachers of nutrition. He founded the Department of Nutrition at Harvard, and he was a firm believer in the essential goodness of the typical American diet, holding that prudence and moderation was the key to healthy eating. And this is something that the food companies love for you to believe, right? Balance, moderation, right? And he rejected the idea that the American diet was harmful, stating, for example, and pay attention here, that Coca-Cola was a healthy between meals snack, and that eating even great amounts of sugar would not cause health problems. That's right. He was also a leading campaigner for the fluoridation of water, which his critics suggested was part and parcel of his endorsement of sugar, right? Because when you eat sugar, you're probably going to require some extra dose of fluoridation to prevent cavities in your teeth. And as is the case with most bought-for researchers, he was critical of fad diets and claims of alternative medicine. In his autobiography, Adventures in Nutrition, Stair states that in 1960, he obtained a grant of $1 million, and that's back in the 60s, so that's a whole lot of money. He got a grant of almost $1 million from General Foods for the expansion of the school's nutrition research labs. And he also, in the 44-year period as a nutritionist, he also raised a total of $29,630,000. For instance, Kellogg's funded $2 million to set up the Nutrition Foundation at Harvard. The foundation was independent of the university and published a journal, Nutrition Reviews, which, by the way, is still in circulation to this day, that he edited for 25 years. Yeah. Also, in 1980, when he was a chairman at Harvard, when he was a chairman of the board of directors of the American Council of Science and Health, he sought funding from the U.S. tobacco giant Philip Morris USA. That's right. Now, not only that, you'd think that that'd be enough, right, to discredit him, but no, it doesn't end here. The New York Times broke the story. So, and the story was that 50 years ago, the sugar industry quietly paid scientists to point the blame at fat and away from sugar as a cause for heart disease. So in the 1960s, the sugar industry funded research that downplayed the risks of sugar and highlighted the hazards of fat. And it was the industry group that paid those researchers off, including Frederick J. Stair. It was called the Sugar Research Foundation. And they sponsored research by Harvard scientists. It was 3 Harvard scientists. The only reason we knew about it is because they're dead and we were able to get into their archives and find all this stuff out. So they sponsored those 3 Harvard scientists, including Frederick Stair. And so what they do, they wrote a review paper and they published it in the most prestigious scientific journal, the New England Journal of Medicine, in 1967, without disclosing the funding, because back then it wasn't common practice to disclose any conflict of interest or where the money's coming from. And the review suggested there were major problems with all the studies that implicated sugar and concluded that cutting fat out of the American diet was the best way to address coronary heart disease. It was a very smart thing that the sugar industry did, of course, because review papers, especially if you get them published in a very prominent journal, they tend to shape the overall scientific discussion. That's the co-author of the actual article that was published in JAMA. But in the 1960s, the Sugar Research Foundation became aware of flowing reports that sugar is a less desirable dietary source of calories and other carbohydrates. And so, well, this is like the prelude, like this is why they wanted to fund this review paper, because of those reports that were coming up saying that, hey, sugar is a problem. So eventually, after a bunch of those studies that were published against sugar, finally the Sugar Research Foundation approved funding the literature review project, and it wound up paying approximately $50,000 in today's dollars for the research. One of the researchers was the chairman of Harvard's Public Health Nutrition Department, and he was, by the way, an ad hoc member. It's like a contractor for the Sugar Foundation's board. That's him, Frederick J. Stair. And so the articles to be included in the review, here's the thing, not only did they pay them the money, but they cherry-picked the studies. So the studies that the Sugar Foundation wanted included in that review paper were literally hand-selected by them, and they told the researchers, this is what we want you to focus on. And so, yeah, that's what happened. Those are the references. You can check out the articles, the Wikipedia page of his bio, and then the NPR article that talks about the study that was published. So that talks about the investigative journalism that happened that uncovered the corruption of these Harvard scientists. So yeah, there you go. This is my Instagram if you want to connect and see what I eat and do on a regular basis. And this is my website, DRZALDIVAR.com, for my coaching packages, which is also linked in the description box below if you ever need to connect or support in that area. All right, I hope you enjoyed this little history lesson. If you did, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.